I'm in Portland, Maine, and to say the least, this is a food lover's paradise. It is prime season here in Maine for lobsters, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can from the locals about what goes in a great lobster roll. Today, I'm meeting up with food blogger Jillian Bedell. She writes about the best spots for lobster around Maine and is taking me to get a classic lobster roll. But first, we're heading to Eventide Oyster Company, which is a little bit more experimental. Owner Arlen Smith is doing amazing things with local seafood, and we're eager to try his brown butter vinaigrette lobster roll. You know a lot about Maine. You gotta tell me about this place.
Lobster is what Maine is known for. When tourists come, they immediately want lobster rolls, steamed lobster. The kind of secret history is that lobsters were so abundant. They used to wash up on the shore in heaps, and they were garbage food.
Really?
It was not considered a delicacy. Sometime in the early 20th century, all of that started to change.
I think we're in the wrong era. I want lobster all the time, every time I order.
Hey guys.
Hey there,
Hi.
how are you?
Brown butter lobster roll.
These are amazing, thank you.
Look incredible. So the first thing I'm noticing is the bun. It's different.
It is. It's a Chinese style steam bun. This has definitely become our signature. Sweet butter, Maine salt.
That is really, really good.
Now, aside from the bun, this isn't traditional to like what Mainers are looking for in a lobster roll.
That's a tricky thing. A lot of people think it has to be on the split top, seared on both sides with butter. Some people put celery, some people put dill. We figured let's give them a little bit of everything and throw it on a very untraditional bun, and it's going over pretty well.
Really good. I think you set the standard for today. This is an incredible lobster roll.
Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your time in Maine.
Eventide definitely exceeded my expectations. Now it's on to our next stop. Bite into Maine, a food truck parked next to Portland Headlight, is Jillian's top spot for a traditional Maine lobster roll.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Very good.
Thanks, how are you?
I definitely want to try this, like your staple.
Well, we've got a Maine style, which is the lobster dressed with a little bit of mayo, finished with a few chives on top. That's Maine style.
Yep.
Or picnic style is one that adds a layer of coleslaw on the bottom, then the fresh meat, then butter on top.
You want to try the Maine and the picnic style?
Yes.
Both of those?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
let's
do
get both.
Variety's the spice of life.
Yeah, it is.
Maine and picnic.
Wow, thank you
Thank you so much. Thank
This
you,
looks
guys.
incredible. This is some good stuff.
Amazing.
Right here. I love how it's like popping out, right?
Yeah, there's a ton of meat, and it's really nicely griddled.
It's gorgeous.
All right,
I mean, this is
let's
like.
stop talking.
Okay. That's ridiculous. I gotta have this
Yeah, you
traditional
have to.
Mainer
Whoa.
lobster. Whoa,
That's
whoa, whoa.
crazy.
Right?
That's like a whole claw.
I can't believe how tender the lobster is.
If you're talking to a Mainer about how they want their lobster rolls, this is it. It's a buttered and toasted bun, really big pieces of lobster meat, lightly tossed in mayo. It's gotta be chilled, it's gotta be mayo. Eventide in Portland is doing really innovative, imaginative, creative stuff. And then Bite into Maine, it's aesthetically pleasing, it's really beautiful, it's really exquisite, but keeping it classic.
Thank you so much for having me
Oh,
and
thank
showing me
you.
around Maine. And I think I have all the components in place to make my lobster roll. I got a lot of ideas going. It's incredible.
This is summertime in Maine, for sure.
Good stuff. Let's face it, if you're going to Maine, you have to eat a lobster roll, or like 12 of them. Today I'm gonna show you guys how I make my lobster roll. First thing I'm gonna do is grab this guy. It's a nice, maybe 1.5 pound lobster. As you can tell, this lobster's already cooked. And the first thing you gotta do is just break it down, get the meat out of the shell. So I'm gonna take the claw off, and the tail, I'm just gonna twist it straight off. So first thing, kind of just break the tail apart. And if it's giving you trouble, because these guys can be pretty sharp, just lay it in the towel, give it a good crack. And it's really important that you use fresh lobster. I'm sure every Mainer would kill you if you used frozen lobster just because it's, you know, so plentiful out here. Now we're gonna break down the claws. So you're gonna take the knuckle, it should just come apart really easily. Make a nice little incision, get a nice straight edge there, and just break it open. And that plump knuckle just comes right out. And now for the claw. You're gonna take this lower mandible and just spread it back, and there's an essential piece of cartilage that you wanna pull out. Now I'm gonna just wrap this and give it a good crack. You wanna use your back of your knife, just because you don't wanna cut through the cloth, and sometimes you can destroy the meat that way. And lobster meat just comes right out. really easily. So now I'm on to the next claw. And now I'm gonna start cutting out my lobster. So I'm just gonna cut this right down the back, just right in half, and just chunk it up to the size of this knuckle. Just put that in my bowl. These knuckles, they're the perfect size, so they go straight in. And the claw, I'm just gonna cut it right in half and keep this beautiful shape of the claw. Now I'm gonna start cutting my veggies. First things first, my red onion. This is gonna give a nice spicy touch to the lobster mix. All right, should be good. Now, a little bit of celery, does the body good. And this is gonna add some more crunch and also a nice savory flavor. And now, my chervil. I love chervil. The flavor profile is a mix between tarragon and parsley. I'm just gonna give this a rough chop. That's good. Now, I'm gonna add my mayo. Don't wanna be too skimpy with this, but you also gotta keep in mind, you don't wanna cover up all that beautiful lobster meat. I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper and just, you know, just a pinch of salt, because the lobster has some natural salinity to it. Now I'm gonna mix this. Just gonna coat all the lobster meat with the mayo. And really, I think the apples from the Cedra is just gonna work so well with this. It's gonna cut straight through the mayo. Kind of separate the onions a little bit, just make sure it's evenly mixed. I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon juice for acidity. Get all those seeds out. All right, I'll set this aside. I'm gonna start toasting my bread. Now, one thing that's really special about this bread, as you see, you have these flat sides, and that's really just for toasting, and you have this nice little split right down the middle. And that's where you put all the lovely lobster salad meat. You don't see these out in California or on the West Coast. It's really an East Coast thing. All right, now I'm gonna add a generous portion of butter to my griddle. I'm just gonna roll this guy around. I don't want any of that butter going anywhere. I'll toast it for a minute or so on both sides until it's just beautifully golden brown. That looks good. Now I'm gonna fill it with my lobster salad. Right down the middle. You want this exploding with lobster meat. It looks like a lot, but here in Maine, that's how they do it. Now, plate it up in the traditional boat. Give this a decent pour. Now it's time to taste. I love the crispy bun. Sweet lobster meat, crunch from the celery, a little bit of spice from the onion, and you know, the mayo just binds everything perfectly. I can see why the Mainers choose this as their local sandwich. I mean, look at that. Who wouldn't want to eat that? Got the sweetness going on here, a little bit of acid from the Cedra. You know, since this is a really sweet dish, the Cedra just balances it out perfectly with a dry note. Thanks for watching, guys. Join me next week as I head down to Casco Bay to do some early morning fishing.